Welcome to Soul Driven Sports, man. I am your host, Damo Unleash. And if you would like to promote on my podcast, look at the ticker at the bottom of the screen. It explains to you what it is, how you can reach out to me, what you got to do to get in contact with me. As you can see on the left of me, you can see all the advertisements. So, shouts out to all the businesses that are advertising with me. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna jump into this, man. I want to do a LeBron versus Jordan. Who's the greatest, right? I'm gonna tell y'all right now, LeBron the greatest, and I'm gonna tell you why. Some people that even somebody like me who thinks LeBron the greatest, but there's a lot of people that struggle to put him up in that category, and I don't think it has nothing to do with his on court play, and I'm gonna get into that later on. But why do I think LeBron is greater than Michael Jordan? Well, the stats for one. Okay. Now you might get some people say, well, Jordan did more in shorter time. What do you mean? Scoring points? What do you mean, no awards? Let me tell y'all something about Jordan, man. And people, when they talk about his all his defensive player of the year awards and all his first team all defense, one thing that people always fail to bring up: Jordan was allowed to hand check. Can you imagine that? Michael Jordan was allowed to hand check. How do I know that Jordan was allowed to hand check? Because I was a diehard Cleveland Cavalier fan when he was hand checking Mark Price. Jordan couldn't stay in front of Mark Price. He wasn't fast enough, just like he wasn't fast enough to stay in front of Allen Iverson or Isaiah Thomas or any other quick point guards. But do you know why Jordan was able to guard them point guards? Hand checking them. They didn't have hand checking when LeBron was around. Could you imagine what LeBron's strength and his speed? How many first team defense awards he would have won if he was able to hand check? Now you'll get a lot of y'all talking about, well, man, they were physical in Jordan's era. They weren't physical. Man, you took a swipe at Michael Jordan and it was a foul. Isaiah was right when he said the NBA started to make their rules around their brand, which was Michael Jordan. You touch Michael Jordan, foul. You whip at Michael Jordan, foul. LeBron, on the other hand, when he go down that lane, it's guaranteed he get elbow, crack, smack. And I'm not saying that Jordan didn't, but they started to call that as Jordan started to go up in his prime. With LeBron, to this day, it's obvious fouls, and they don't call them. Now, LeBron do flop, and I think the reason why LeBron evolved into a is because he wasn't getting calls that somebody that was little old Mikey was getting. Okay? Second of all, always like to look at, some of y'all like to look at, well, Jordan, man, he was undefeated. Well, guess what? Well, Jordan had 6 titles. Bill Russell had more, and then y'all moved the guard post. But what people don't ever look at is what Michael Jordan, he had an easy road to the finals. Now let's debate this here. Jordan went through Portland, he went through the Lakers, he went through Seattle, Utah twice, and Phoenix. I don't want to hear about anybody he went through in the East, like the New York Knicks. The New York Knicks was a better football team than a basketball team. The New York Knicks barely reached 100 points. Tell me I'm lying. New York struggled to get 100 points. So I don't want to hear about Michael Jordan having to go through New York, who was, man, playing football on a basketball court. I don't want to hear about Michael Jordan have to go through the Indiana Pacers, the same Pacers that got their butts whooped by Kobe and Shaq, who got their butts whooped by the Pistons, who LeBron went through. The only person that wasn't on that team was, but they were still a tough team to go through. So I don't want to hear about any team that Jordan had to go through in the East. Okay? And then Western, out of all them franchises I just named, none of them were considered dynasties. Even when Jordan left, what did Utah do when Jordan left? If Utah was so great. Why is, if all them teams that Jordan beat, if they were great teams, why is it that when he left, Houston was the team that was winning? And even that Houston team, outside of maybe Dallas, I don't think none of them teams were better than the San Antonio Spurs. I don't think any of them teams were better than the Golden State Warriors. And everybody liked to talk about how, well, when LeBron left, LeBron went to join D-Wade and Bosh. Well, why is it then that LeBron, his prime lasted 10 years longer? It lasted 10 years. And Dwayne Wade, within year 4, body was breaking down. He was missing more games than probably LeBron did in the next 10 years. D-Wade missed more games in one season, probably in 1 or 2 seasons, than LeBron did in the next 5 to 10 years. That's how broken down Dwayne Wade was. And then Chris Bosh, man, he broke down also. So it wasn't like, man, LeBron probably had 3 solid years with Bosh and prime Dwayne Wade. Past that, them guys, man, weren't the same. They were shelling themselves. So I think the level of competition that LeBron had to go through is much tougher. Y'all can argue me, it's laughable when y'all tell me that Phoenix with Charles Barkley and Dan Mallory and Kevin Johnson was better than San Antonio? Better than Golden State? I don't think so. What about crackhead man Sean Kemp and Gary Payton? Gary Payton needed Dwayne Wade to even become a champion. He wouldn't be a champion without Dwayne Wade. Drexler, man, had to go join Hakeem Olajuwon. So I don't want to hear about Portland being better than any of those teams. Y'all know that's not true. Y'all Jordan sexuals, man, y'all know that's not true. The reason why people don't think LeBron, they don't put him up past Jordan, I think it has a lot to do with the way that people feel about LeBron as a person. And here's what I mean by that. Remember in Columbus, I think it was, where it was one young lady getting ready to stab another young lady and the cop ended up shooting her. And LeBron got on Twitter and posted a picture of the officer and said, "You're next." And then after the story came out in which the officer protected that young lady, LeBron never went back and really apologized. He gave a half-hearted statement and then blew it up under the rug like it never even happened. Tell you another instance. LeBron always talk about oppression, and he never talk about the effect of fathers in homes or the lack of fathers in homes. Now, we look at LeBron's background, and LeBron is where he is through, yes, his hard work. But let's not act like he wasn't assisted by men who were fathers to other kids who decided to take LeBron under their wing. And LeBron never talked about that. He was going from home to home. His mom was unstable. And thank God, man, through the gifts of God, that he was able to bring his family to another level in life that he probably wouldn't have seen it had he not had them gifts or had he not put in that hard work in the gym. So you see LeBron and his kids, the benefits of his kids growing up in a two-parent household, and LeBron James never talk about that. So yes, it's easy to dislike LeBron James. LeBron James makes it easy to dislike him. LeBron moved from Ohio to California, which has a history of being racist, even to this day. Politicians, man, are millionaires, and people are in California with 2 or 3 jobs and still struggling to find a place to live. It's hard to be a fan of somebody like LeBron James who melodramatic talk about somebody wrote the N word on my property, knowing that they don't like minorities out in California. You want the proof of that? Look at how minorities are living by majority in California. You only have rich and poor. There is no middle class in California. So stuff like that is why people don't like LeBron James. And then people want to talk about, oh, well, at least he out, man, trying to do something for the public. What? Build a school? Give out scholarships? Well, here's my question. What good are those scholarships if 8th graders 3 years in a row can't pass the Ohio Math Proficiency Test? What good are those scholarships? They get to college and they can't do math. So LeBron James makes it easy for people not to like him. And I get it. But if I'm going to be unbiased and I look at past LeBron the person, because I understand, and I gave the reasons why LeBron the person is so easy to dislike. Man, he had faced more fierce competition than Michael Jordan. And they did bend and change them. They actually got something called the Michael Jordan rule. They made it easy for Michael Jordan. And when Michael Jordan went through the Pistons, man, they were a shell of themselves. There was no Benny Johnson in them, had fell off. Dennis Rodman wasn't even there anymore. When he had to go through that Pistons team, he couldn't. What about, nobody talk about him getting swept by Larry Bird? He couldn't beat Larry Bird. He didn't beat the Lakers until, man, Byron Scott was injured. James Worthy was older. He was in the later part of his career. So was Magic Johnson, who not even a year later or a couple years after that, it was discovered that he was HIV positive. The Lakers, he didn't beat Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Lakers. So stop that acting like Jordan was great, man. Jordan was flashy. Jordan was a ball hog. Jordan got away with a lot of hand checks, which they allow in the NBA. But he was not what y'all want to make him out to be. And Jordan should be thanking LeBron. Because the truth be told, y'all remember that video where he was like, man, let's not talk about, he tried to move the field goal post himself. Talking about, let's not talk about who's the greater player. Let's talk about who's the greatest team. And he tried to put that 72 win Bulls team as the greatest. And the only reason why they're still the greatest is because LeBron knocked off the Golden State Warriors. Because had the Golden State Warriors beat LeBron James, Jordan, you couldn't even say that. There would be debate had Steph Curry beat that Cleveland team of him being possibly the greatest of all time. Tell me I'm lying. But that's all I want to say, man. I'm going to leave. Y'all can leave y'all comments below. But I'm out. I done said my piece. It is what it is. If you're mad, screw it. I'm out. Y'all have a good rest of the day. Peace.